Well, I'd have to say that my least favorite part of the trip was all the driving. We chose to drive from Kansas to Wyoming, and it was about 18 hours in the car. So that was my least favorite, but it was sure beautiful when we got there.
Grandpa Harry's always been a really good storyteller, and on the first night of the trip, we were all sitting around the dinner table and kind of conversing about the local fly shops, telling us about all the bear sign and about how we needed to have bear spray. And he told a really great story about a bear charging Mark on his last trip to Wyoming.
Right at us, and old Mark said, "Ah!" and took a big swat at her with it, and she just went, "Oh!" like that. It turned around and went in. I said, "Mark, what did you do?" And he said, "Cows are not subject to superficiality."
You're so funny. One of the things I really enjoyed about this trip was the beautiful place that we stayed. It was in a beautiful setting and was far away from a lot of other things. I really enjoyed that about the cabin.
When you're out there, it's like you're out in the middle of nowhere.
One of my most favorite parts of the trip was that I got to catch the biggest fish out of everybody there. All the guys, everybody, I caught the biggest fish. It was huge. And Harry and I made a bet that I would catch the biggest fish, and I just now got paid. However many, almost a year later.
Harry, you owe me $5. Biggest one of the day.
Just now got my money from it. So that was one of my favorite parts.
Some of the things I enjoyed about the trip were absolutely the beautiful scenery. It was stunning, very peaceful there. It was a week's vacation away from all the normal routines.
My least favorite part of the trip was the road work in Yellowstone because I was kind of in pain from how bad I had to use the restroom. And it took forever to get anywhere with the road work.
Say something about this road work in Yellowstone.
It's awful because I really have to go to the bathroom.
Do you have to go number 2?
No, just one. And I'm gonna go in the seat if this road work doesn't hurry.
Lauren, what do you think about the road work now?
I just told you, I'm gonna die. Get away.
Old Faithful is something I always learned about in school and always wanted to be able to see it, and finally got that opportunity. And it was a beautiful day with blue skies, and it's really incredible how they can tell you within just a few minutes of the time that it's going to erupt. And it certainly did on schedule, and it was truly awesome.
I did not like to discover something that I should have already known. And that was that I cannot walk 5 or 6 miles in the mountains anymore. So therefore, the young people got to go while I gracefully agreed to stay back out of the way and not slow anybody down.
We're getting ready to jump on this trailhead. We're not for sure exactly how far we're going to go, but it looks like the closest access point is at least 3.5 miles. You know, one of the things I really enjoy about fly fishing is being able to hike into remote areas and not have a lot of other fishermen. One day, Nathan, Lauren, and I had the opportunity to hike into Crandall Creek. I think it was about a 5.5 mile hike, and it was pretty cool. We saw a lot of bear sign, a lot of little critters cruising around, and the fishing was really good. I think Nathan caught a whole wad of fish. Lauren and I had a good time kind of helping her get accustomed to fly fishing, and it was just a really neat experience.
All day long I wondered what they were seeing that I couldn't see. And What kind of fishing were they experiencing?
Today so far, we've caught a lot of fish with nymphs, fishing them at the end of the drift on the rise. So that told us that the fish are eating a lot of emergers. And we walked up to this spot and Nathan noticed some cuts up here on the end of the log coming up and sipping from the surface. So switched over to this sparkle hopper as a dry, and then this little elk hair caddis emerger below. So let's see what happens. We're gonna hit up Crandall Creek. We're gonna fish downstream to where the creek comes into the Clark's Fork, and Beartooth Creek also meets with the Clark's Fork. Supposedly, where all these tributaries come into the river, there's some pretty solid fishing and some good fish too, so we're gonna get after them. If we get there without flat tire.
Looks like the two old men couldn't take it. Came in here for a little bit of break, and we'll see what they're doing.
Well, we've been to several states as a family on various fly fishing trips, and as usual, it normally takes us almost the whole trip before we figure out where the best place is to fish. And on this trip, when we found it, it was really good. The trout were almost hard to believe what size they were and how many we caught.
There are lots of forest fires in Yellowstone while we were there, and so I thought it was really cool because the way they had to put them out was that the helicopters would come to the creeks and get water from a bucket and then take it over to the fire and dump it on top. So I sat and watched that for a while, which was pretty cool.
One of the outstanding events that I recall while we were down catching those large fish, there had been very little topwater activity, but the boys noticed that one particular really nice fish was breaking surface, and he was just a little too far out. And I thought, well, they're never going to catch him. But they went all the way back up to the highway, walked clear across the bridge, finally got in position. Jeremy put on a dry fly and began to work the fish. And Nathan actually caught the fish under the water, rising to the fly.
That was pretty cool. Hopefully the film turns out pretty good. But we could see this nice cutthroat in the water, really golden brown, and we could see his white mouth opening, eating nymphs and stuff. And I actually saw him rise from the other side. So I tied on a big stimulator and a green parachute green drake dry fly. And he came up and looked a couple different times, but then finally couldn't stand it and took it on the third time he came up. Beautiful, beautiful golden cutthroat. Pretty cool. Always fun to catch them on dries.
It was great. One of the great things about being a grandfather is being able to tell somebody about what they might expect and then turn and see the reflection of that experience in your grandson's eyes.
Well, the country was beautiful, and it was fun seeing the wildlife and all the beautiful countryside, but the best part was being able to spend a week with family.
I was able to spend a lot of time with both of my sons and my father, and we had some really good fishing.
There will be a lot of memories that I keep with me for a long time. It was pretty neat being able to fish with all three generations. Nathan and I had the opportunity to fish with Dad and Grandpa in one of the coolest places in the world for fly fishing. You know, Nathan, he has No Sleep Productions, and he's always saying stuff like, you can sleep when you die. But after a little bit too much to drink, it's a little bit different story.
This is No Sleep Productions.
Well, my two favorite parts of the trip were easily Grandpa's margaritas and my smoking hot wife and waiters.
One of my other favorite parts of the trip was my smoking hot husband and watching him and his waiters, and that was silly.
You're recording.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Oh, I'm recording right now? Oh, okay.
We found a cool little cave.
Helicopters.
The beautiful mountain ranges were so cool.
Helicopters, because there was... No! I don't like that. Stop it.
And if he wasn't around. Fishing, yeah. All the big bad bears all over the place. And we had, don't look at me. Colorado, Missouri, Tennessee. I don't want to say that. Alright. Really awesome fishing day.
What? Are you people going to do this to me? You can't laugh. And it was just, I screwed that up.
Routines. Ugh. That was yucky. Scratch that.
I've totally forgotten what we're talking about.
They're just really beautiful.